In this paper, we estimate the employment effects of a large Italian program providing subsidies to investment of private firms. It has been in operation from 1996 to 2007. According to the law introducing this program, applicant firms submit a project and then they are ranked on a score reflecting both objective rules and local authorities' discretion. What we find in the paper is that firms with a high score on objective rule, as well as firms preferred by local authorities, they generated large employment growth. But those preferred by local authorities did so at a much higher cost per job. This issue is policy relevant not only in Italy. So between 2014 and 2020, for instance, the European Union Regional Development Fund dedicated approximately 46.5 billion euro per year to bolster economic development in less prosperous European regions. And things we know well have been increasing since then during the COVID-19 pandemic. So the issue is estimating the impact of these interventions, who benefited the most from them, and foremost, which protocol should be used to allocate funds. How much should we rely on discretionary power by local authorities? How much instead we should rely on transparent rules? So the case of the Italian law 488, the one we are talking about, told you from 1996 to 2007, this program financed approximately 77,000 investment projects through 35 open calls. We evaluate the impact of these subsidies on firm investment, job creation, and productivity. To measure this impact, what we do is very simple. We compare subsidized firms to applicant firms not receiving the subsidy. What we show in the paper is that once a suitable set of pre-application characteristics of firms is accounted for, the subsidized firms and those non-subsidized are truly comparable. That is, the ceteris paribus clause is met in our case. Results are very simple and striking, by the way. So what we find is a clear, large effect of the subsidy on investment, employment, value added, and the survival probability of firms. And this effect is lasting at least 5 to 6 years after the receipt of the subsidy. But what about the issue we mentioned in the title? What about the distinction between rules and discretion? So both firms preferred by regional authorities and firms scoring high on objective criteria, they generate larger employment growth as compared to applicants non-subsidized. But the cost of creating new jobs is much, much lower for applicants ranking high on the objective score than for applicants ranking high on the local authorities' preference. Dropping the discretionary component would reduce the cost per job by 11%. On the other hand, dropping the objective component would increase the cost per job by 42%. So the conclusion is very easy to draw. So we find that both firms scoring high on objective criteria and firms preferred by local authorities, they do well in terms of employment creation. But eliminating the discretionary component, that is relying only on objective criteria, would reduce a lot the cost per job created, that is improving the cost effectiveness of this intervention.